The best A-rank character in Zenless Zone Zero is finally here, guys. The one you absolutely have to build. The Panda is here. Kung Fu Panda. Poe is here. He will cook your ass in his walk, and he does not give a okay, guys? He is going to be diabolically probably the best buffer in the game. Maybe not overall buffer, but best buffer for sheer damage force in the game, which we're going to have a lot more of this damage in the future. I think he's an absolute must build for your account, but we'll get into that at the end of the video because right now we need to talk about what his best build is, what his best W engines are, what his best drift drive stats are, what his best teammates are, everything like that. And then if you really want to know what he does and why you should be building him, then I guess you'll have to wait till the end of the videos to find that out. So subscribe to the channel now if you like someone that just cuts through the bullshit and gets right into the build, because that's what we're doing right now, hopping into the build. Best W engines. Yeah. And his best in slot W engine, guys, is going to be his signature W engine. Why? Because first of all, it gives you a base attack increase, and then on top of this, guys, whenever the wearer uses an EX special attack or ultimate, his damage is going to be increased by 25%. And whenever anyone in the squad takes damage or heals, you'll be getting him 2 extra energy back. Now, honestly, guys, I do think this W engine can come in clutch for a lot of different other characters as well, because this really does enable the playstyle for a sub DPS defense type character. And considering it plays off of your allies taking damage or healing, which he heals, and then obviously taking damage is taking damage, this is already kind of set up to play into future metas as well, especially if we get characters that damage themselves. This will make just the character that has this equipped so much stronger. So this is not a bad pickup at all, and this is going to be hands down his best in slot, but not the only option you can choose, because his second best in slot is actually going to be an event W engine, guys. That's going to be the real projector W engine. First of all, guys, it'll be increasing his impact by 15%, so overall really good there. Besides that, the main draw of why this is going to be good for the Panda here, because whenever squad members' HP is greater than or equal to 50%, they'll be taking 12% less damage and 16% less miasma contamination. And the reason why I think this is good for him is because he doesn't really offer anything other than heals in his kit. This adds some preventative damage to his kit. You would think a defense character gives shield. He doesn't give shield. So this kind of works in a way, I would say, similar to Yixuan from Honkai Star Rail. It's going to make your allies take less overall damage, which can be really good just for survivability in the grand scheme of things. So while this doesn't necessarily help his damage output, it definitely helps the rest of the team out. And the final W engine option I want to recommend is actually the Battle Pass Spring Embrace W engine, guys. This gives you a base 25% attack increase, and if you get this thing at S5, it's going to be reducing his damage taken by 12%. And whenever attacked, the energy regeneration of the wearer is going to be increasing by 16% for 12 seconds. But the biggest thing about this is whenever he is switched off field, this energy regeneration is going to be passed on to whatever DPS swaps onto the field. So if you're using him in the correct way, you'll be quick assisting back into whatever ally is doing your main source of damage. So free energy from them from this W engine, so you cannot go wrong here with this W engine. And those are the 3 W engine options that I can recommend today. With that being said, let's go ahead and talk about his best in slot teams now. Starting off with his best in slot team first, and that is going to be a team with, what do you know, the person he's on the banner with, Miss Yixuan herself, guys. Yes, he is going to be providing so much extra buffs for her. First of all, and arguably the biggest thing he can do, is a sheer damage bonus increase to her. Now, how sheer damage is calculated, guys, is basically taking a percentage of that user's attack and then you convert it to sheer damage. So 25% of the wearer's attack will be converted to sheer damage. And if you were to take it by the numbers, guys, and by any other support character that gives buffs, he by far and away gives the biggest buff in this respect, because while someone like Astroyao can give around a 300 sheer damage bonus, he can give a maximum of a 540 sheer damage increase, which is absolutely insane. This makes him the best sheer damage buffer in the game, so you cannot go wrong with having him on the team. On top of this, although, guys, he'll be allowing your allies to deal 20% more damage to enemies as well. So all in all, just super good from his Yi. As far as other teams go, now other teams really won't work that well with his main core passive, because his main core passive is buffing sheer damage, and if you don't have sheer damage, if you're not Yi, then you don't get this buff. And the requirement to activate his additional ability is kind of cooked, because they have to be a Rapture character, which is Yi, and we only have Yi in the game, or you have to have someone from the same faction, which is the new Ju Fufu coming out. So if you don't have Ju Fufu, you don't have Yi, hey, it's up. You basically get nothing from this guy, and he's pretty much useless in every other scenario. I'm just gonna keep it a buck with you guys, okay? If you have Ju Fufu on the team, though, hey, he'll pop off in those teams with at least a 20% vulnerability he can do to the enemy and some off-field damage. But with that out of the way, guys, let's go ahead now and talk about his best in-slot disk drive sets, disk drive stats, and everything like that. But wait, before we talk about those juicy little disk drive sets, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now, gamers. If you've watched to this point in the video, it's arguably not that long into the video, but if you have, then hey, you've made it further than most. So hit that subscribe button now. I would really appreciate it. And now let's go ahead and talk about what his best in-slot disk drive 5 sets are now. So what I consider his second best in slot kit, guys, that's going to be a 4-piece Jazz with a 2-piece King of the Summit. So the reason why I say this is the second best in slot, guys, is because this does have a little bit of flaws. First of all, the Jazz will be giving you a 20% energy regen, but on top of this, whenever you're launching a chain or ultimate attack, you'll be increasing everyone in your squad's damage by 15%, which is just overall really nice. And then obviously from the 2-piece Summit here, guys, you're getting increased days, so he's just helping out stunning the enemy that much quicker. So overall, this is why I say it's the second best in slot. Like, it's not like the best thing in the world. Realistically, what I consider his best in slot 4-piece is going to be the 4-piece Astral Voice with a 2-piece Jazz. Now, with this, you cannot run 2 Astral Voices on your team, right? So if you have someone like Astriel on your team, then I would revert back to the 4-piece Jazz and run it that way. But if you didn't have an Astral Voice set on your team already, or someone with Astral Voice on your team already, this is definitely the set to go for him with a 2-piece Jazz. And that's because of the fact, guys, that Astral Voice will be, first of all, giving him a 10% attack increase, but on top of this, whenever a squad member enters the battle using a quick assist, all squad members gain 1 stack of Astral. Basically, this can increase the damage of whoever's on the field by up to 24% if you're using repeated quick swaps, which he very easily does with the rest of the team. So this is why I recommend this is the best 4-piece set, because it gives the biggest buff to the team. And then obviously a 2-piece Jazz there to increase energy regen. So realistically, outside this, I don't recommend any set. Like, if you wanted to run into DPS and you were running into some crit issues, you could maybe run like a 4-piece Yunki Tails with like a 2-piece like Woodpecker Electro, just to get as much crit rate as possible, because you'll be getting a 12% crit rate increase with the Tails. And with the Woodpecker Electro, you're getting an extra 8% there, but this really doesn't help you out too much because he doesn't do sheer damage. So take that for what you will, and now let's hop into what his recommended stats are. Starting off with his main stats first, guys, on the 4-piece is going to be crit rate, on the 5-piece is going to be attack or physical, on the 6-piece is going to be energy regeneration rate. Now for the substats, guys, I'd recommend crit rate, crit damage, and attack percentage here. This is like, you just want to build him kind of like a sub DPS, because he can act as a sub DPS. He does stay on the field when your other DPS are on the field doing things. So like I said, he can be that buffer if you're using on a team with Yi. And he can also offer some pretty decent levels of sub DPS damage. But that's really all that I have to mention in terms of his build. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below. And if you watched at this point in the video, then thank you for watching. But now we're going to talk about how he actually works and maybe why you should be building the Panda Man. So first things first, guys, let's go ahead and talk about what his ultimate is going to be doing, which helps out really any team that he's on, because he is technically the second character in the game, I guess you could say, that heals the team other than Astriel. He's the first A-rank we've got that's going to be healing the team, because whenever he uses his ultimate move, guys, he brings the fucking walkout, he feeds the whole team, and he's going to be healing every single one of your allies with a healing over time effect, and he's going to be doing physical damage to the enemies as well. So overall, guys, chef's kiss to that one, because I think content's going to be getting harder and you're going to be wanting to heal much more often, especially if you're a player that struggles with dodging a lot of attacks and like really timing up those attacks and stuff like that. He could be a massive addition to your account there, but that's just his healing capabilities. He also, like I said, is an off-field DPS, or a sub-DPS, I guess you could say, right? And that all comes from his skill move, guys. He technically has a couple different skill moves here. Basically, one of the skill moves, guys, will be granting him these stacks of Break Force, and what these Break Force stacks are going to be doing is essentially whenever you swap off of him, he'll stay on the field, and then use one Break Force stack to use another addition of his skill move, which deals damage to enemies, which is really nice. He can use 3 of these skill moves here, guys. He can also inflict a depleted key state on the enemies if you have Yi or Jufufu on your team, which is going to be making the enemies take 20% more damage. And like I said, he can do this up to 3 different times, kind of like how Astriel's off the field and does her thing. He is the same way as that. But I guess the main bread and butter of his kit, guys, is going to come from his core passive and, like I mentioned before, his additional ability. And what the core passive is going to be doing, guys, is after you hit an EX skill with Mr. Panda here and an ally on your team comes in from a quick assist and or a chain attack, they'll be getting a sheer damage bonus. Like I mentioned, this does not apply to anyone other than Yi right now. And he gets a massive amount of sheer damage increase with this as well. As I mentioned the stat line before, Astriel, being the highest attack buffer in the game, is going to be giving you around like a 300 sheer damage increase. He can give a maximum of 540, so literally almost double what she can do. And then hopping into the additional ability now, which is going to be playing with Rupture characters and also people of the same faction. So Miss Jufufu here, he has the ability to put the depleted key state on the enemy, which makes them take 20% more damage. So all around a super viable unit. Maybe not right now. If you pull for Yi, then he'll be great for your account, but if you don't have Yi, then he's not going to be great for your account right now. But that doesn't mean I don't think you should be building him, because I do think he is a must build for your account, and I don't say that too lightly. I think there are plenty of characters that are not must build for your account. But the reason I say he's a must build for your account is because he is literally setting up for what the future meta, or one of the future metas for ZZZ looks like. We have a new class called Rapture in the game. There is no shot that Yi is going to be the only person that worked with the Rapture type damage, or is of that Rapture type. So with that being said, guys, this means that we're getting more characters out that can have sheer force damage, and he will be the only person that provides the biggest buff in the world to that damage type, especially if you pull Yi. He is going to be, what, her first or second best buffer that you can use on the team with her? Like, that's massive. That is fucking huge. This is going to get better and better as time goes on. He's starting off at a super low baseline of the only person he can work with is Yi right now, but I can see him getting so much more use in the future, especially with more Rapture characters that get added to the game, and also more characters of the same faction that get added to the game. He will work increasingly well with each one of these characters, and he is really what the definition of what the future of ZZZ looks like. So I definitely do think you should be building for your account. I think he's a must build because he does set you up for the future. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. If you enjoyed, then please leave a like on the video, maybe subscribe as well. But that's gonna do it, guys. See you later. Build your pandas. Let me know how you feel about the Mr. Panda, Mr. Po from Kung Fu Panda, and that's gonna do it, guys. See you later. Bye bye.